Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a skill that has been practiced for generations, the respectful and efficient butchering of a chicken. Whether you're a homesteader or a culinary enthusiast or just plain curious where your food comes from, this step-by-step guide will walk you through the entire process with care, skill, and respect for the animal. This content is about connection to your food, to tradition, as well as to self-reliance. So stick around, smash that like button, and let's get into it.
All right, so this is a chicken that I got from the market at Butchery in Paris. This is going to be coming from the region of Normandy here in Paris. And what you're going to want to be doing first is placing the chicken on its back. And as you can see, I have the arm, the wing in my hand, and I want to be doing 2 incisions. One on the front side, the other one cutting through the skin and exposing the tendon and joint from the underside of the wing. Okay, once you find that joint, you want to be putting your knife just inside of that space, making an incision, placing the wing on the board for that extra support, and then cutting through when you find it. A little bit of navigation is required. Next, you're going to be wanting to flip that chicken over, and you're going to be wanting to do the exact same thing on the other side, okay? Grabbing that wing, you can always use it for sauces, jus, making the 2 incisions. Popping that joint out always helps. And then getting that incision right on this side. And then flipping it over, popping that joint out a bit and cutting through that tendon, putting it down on the cutting board, exposing the joint and cutting through where you can find a space. A little bit of playing around is required sometimes. And there you go, you found it, and you just cut straight through when you get that joint, okay? A little bit of cutting off a little bit of this excess skin is okay. Place that aside. Again, you can use that for juice. Useful. Freeze them, collect them. Now you want to be putting it on belly side with the back exposed. Okay. You want to be then grabbing the neck, pulling the skin back, and making an incision from the middle of the shoulder blades down. Now, if your chicken is already, the neck's already cut off, then perfect. You want to be exposing that neck. You can always make a little bit of a larger incision to kind of help you navigate that. Pulling the skin back and then cutting that excess skin around the neck. Okay, once you have that done, you then want to be finding it. I always like making a small incision just on the other side of the neck. It helps me cut through. You'll see that just in a second. You want to be flipping the chicken over to the back side. And then you want to be as close as possible to the bone, just cutting straight through. Use that force and getting that cut off. Perfect. Now you want to be then, this is where the little bit of a tricky part comes in. You have the wishbone, and you want to be cutting that wishbone. The wishbone exceeds from this end just down to the base of the collar, and you can see you want to be making an incision and just cutting straight down. Making an incision, cutting straight down on both sides. Don't curve the blade, cut straight down. Then once you have that, you want to be just following along and cutting just as close as possible as you can to the bone. Pulling the bone just enough out, not too much as you're going to snap the wishbone, and just freeing that bone from the meat. Following it up just to the base and repeating the exact same thing on both sides. Okay, once you have that, you grab it, pull it up, and just pull out, maybe making a small incision. Next, the legs. You want to be cutting around the legs, exposing that tendon, as you can see here. And then you just want to be cutting that tendon and exposing that joint. Okay? Next, you want to be then putting your knife just in between there and just cutting around. It helps when it's on the base of the board for a little bit of extra support, but essentially whatever feels more comfortable to you is fine. Next, you want to be doing the same thing to the other side. Exposing that joint, cutting that tendon, as you can see there, and just cutting straight through. Now you have your chicken, starting to look like an actually roasted chicken, like something you can put in the oven. I always proceeding to butcher a little bit more, cutting off those wings, popping that joint, cutting through. Again, as you can see, cutting through that joint and getting that perfect. Set that off to the side. You definitely want to use that later. Again, cutting that excess skin off, exposing the joint on both sides. It's not much trick to this. This is, again, have a feel for it, find that joint, and again, if you need to pop it out a little bit, it's good. Not too complicated. Set those off to the side. You can definitely use them later in juice, roast them, cook them, however you want. It's your freedom. Next, you have that chicken. You can pop it in the oven now and it would be perfect for the family roast. You want to always be cleaning your section, working down, pat drying that chicken, and cleaning your cutting board. Next, we're going to be working on the legs, okay? We'll be pulling the legs, cutting that excess skin off just to expose the meat. Be careful not to cut too much of the skin off as I did just there. And you just want to be cutting along gently while pulling that leg over and popping and exposing that joint. Perfect. Do the exact same process on the other side. Cutting around, exposing that leg gently, not using too much force. And then popping that joint out. Okay, I always cut a little bit of excess meat, really give you the space you need to butcher and to cut the legs off. Again, as you can see, I cut a little bit too much of the skin out of the breast, but that should be fine. Then you want to be doing it, I learned T section. You cut directly across the back and directly down. I like making a little V shape towards the base of the tail, just to expose and make sure. Now there's going to be a piece of meat here. It's an oyster meat, so it's a piece of dark meat that's beautiful. Just want to be cutting around here and just exposing the meat. It's in a little pocket, and that's a really nice rich piece of meat. You don't want to be missing that. And that shows skill of chicken butchery if you can get that out perfectly. Next, repeat the process on the other side. Have the leg around, cut down, cut through that oyster, find that pocket, and just cut directly down. Easy enough. And there you go, you got yourself a leg. You can use that for chicken confit, roasted leg. You can butcher it up even more to have a nice drumstick and thigh. Now you got the breasts. It's going to be a little more complicated. You want to be very confident in your strikes and cut straight down. And slowly cut down while angling your knife a little bit while pulling away the meat. Okay, if you cut into the breast a little bit, that's not an issue. There's the tendon there. That's why I always keep the tendon on, because if you cut into the tendon, that's going to be a pretty tough piece of meat anyways that I usually remove from my chicken breast. And you just pull that breast away from the bone and then slowly slide your knife down while taking as much as you can off. And then once you have enough exposed, just cutting that off. And then just cutting through the joint. Here's the tricky part. This takes a little bit more skill and aptitude. There's a few tendons and joints that you need to cut through to be able to get through that bone perfectly. And you just want to be finding those, snipping those off, and then essentially exposing the joint and cutting through just like that, trying to keep as much meat attached as possible. There you go. You just set that off to the side. And I don't think I need to repeat myself. You can repeat this on exactly the same on the other side, okay? One thing, I always like removing the guts of the chicken and the intestines and so on and so forth. And you can use it in, you can use the bone and carcass in sauces and stocks. So you can make a nice brown chicken stock with it by using burnt onion, or you can use a white chicken stock by boiling it in cold water with a little bit of mirepoix. It's a very useful thing to have in your kitchen. You can freeze it, use it later for sauces, for soups like French onion soup, and so on and so forth. You can also use these pieces, set them aside, and freeze them for later.
Alright, that pretty much wraps it up for this video about the chicken butchery. Getting your chicken ready for a Sunday roast or a stock or whatever you have planned. I would love to hear about it in the comments below, so don't hesitate to ask any questions or let me notify me of what you plan to do with the chicken. I would love to hear about that, and if you guys have time, press that like button, press that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. It helps my channel grow. And I really hope you guys learned something. Thank you for staying until the end, and yeah, have a great day.